Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Savannah Chrisley opens up on codependency and boundaries. Chrisley know best alum. Savannah Chrisley opened up about codependency and boundaries recently, and it might explain why she so desperately fights for the innocence of her father, Todd Chrisley. Or it might not be that deep, as she also talked about Grayson and Nick Cardiles. Read on to find out what she's saying about relationships with men. Savannah Chrisley is too controlling? The Chrisley knows best alum has been accused of being too controlling with her little brother Grayson. For example, he wants to go to college. However, she is adamant that he will fail and just not try hard. Some fans think she should let him have some responsibility and stop micromanaging him. The other thing that Savannah Chrisley does is defend her dad, Todd Chrisley, against those who question his innocence. He was found guilty in a court of law for fraud and tax-related crimes. Critics argue that there was a mountain of evidence that suggests he wasn't smelling like roses. Chrisley knows best alum is the giver. On her latest Unlocked podcast, Todd Chrisley's daughter opened up about how she can't seem to separate her feelings from things the men in her life might do. She talked about codependency, a controversial psychological condition identified in the 1980s. According to positive psychology, Savannah Chrisley is talking about taking care of others to the point where they forget to take care of themselves. This can result in a disturbance of identity development. Additionally, Psychology Today explained that one can enable a loved one's irresponsible or destructive behavior. What did Savannah say? In her podcast, the reality TV star said, in part, in her conversation, she mentioned her dad and Nick Cardiles. Certainly, it seems that she wants to excuse the men in her life for anything because she wants to make them seem as perfect as she can. Interestingly, positive psychology likened codependency to a partner who will defend their man against drinking too much or behaving badly. What are your thoughts on what Savannah Chrisley said about boundaries and codependency? Do you think that by being a giver, she sacrificed her own needs to the men in her life? Savannah Chrisley, known to many for her role in the reality TV series Chrisley Knows Best, has long been in the public eye. From her early days as a pageant queen to her rise in the entertainment world, fans have followed her ups and downs, triumphs and tribulations. However, beneath the glitz and glamour of the show, Savannah has had to navigate a series of complex emotional landscapes, especially in the realm of relationships. Recently, Savannah opened up about the journey she's been on, confronting her codependency and setting boundaries for the first time in her life. In her candid interview, Savannah didn't shy away from discussing the struggles she faced when it came to people-pleasing and emotional reliance on others. I used to think that if I could just keep everyone happy, everything would be fine. It wasn't even conscious, really, she admitted. I'd bend over backward for people, even if it hurt me, just to keep the peace. It's a sentiment that so many can relate to, the desire to avoid conflict, to be seen as the one who has everything under control, to be the glue that holds relationships together. But Savannah explained that this mindset came at a cost. By constantly putting the needs of others ahead of her own, she began to lose herself in the process. There was a point where I didn't even know what I wanted anymore. I didn't have any hobbies, any real passions outside of making sure everyone else was okay. In her effort to please, she became emotionally enmeshed with the people around her, blurring the lines between where their needs ended and hers began. Savannah's journey to understanding her codependency wasn't an overnight revelation. It came through painful experiences, particularly in romantic relationships. I've always been someone who gave everything in love, my time, my energy, my heart. But I realized that wasn't always healthy, she confessed. I was constantly giving, and when I didn't get the same in return, I would feel empty. This imbalance created a vicious cycle of emotional depletion, leaving Savannah feeling unappreciated and drained. The turning point came when she realized that her worth wasn't tied to how much she gave to others. It was about learning to value herself independently of external validation. I had this moment of clarity where I understood that I had been confusing love with sacrifice, she said. Real love doesn't mean you have to lose yourself in the process. It's about mutual respect and knowing your boundaries. This shift in mindset marked the beginning of her journey toward setting boundaries, which for someone who had long identified as a people pleaser, was no small feat. The word no used to terrify me, Savannah laughed, because I didn't want to let anyone down, but I learned that no is a full sentence, and it's okay to protect your energy. Setting boundaries meant not just saying no to others but also saying yes to herself. She started prioritizing her mental health, taking time to understand her needs, and embracing the idea that self-care wasn't selfish, it was essential. I started journaling, going to therapy, and having honest conversations with myself about what I truly wanted in life, not just what I thought everyone else wanted from me. Savannah's newfound commitment to boundaries also affected her relationships with friends and family. It was hard at first because people weren't used to me saying no, she admitted. They were so accustomed to me always being available, always ready to help or fix things. But I had to explain that I wasn't abandoning them. I was just making space for myself. She shared that her family, especially her father, Chrisley, took time to adjust. Dad and I have always been close, and there were times when I felt responsible for his emotions. But as I started setting healthier boundaries, I realized that his happiness isn't my responsibility. I love him deeply, but I can't fix everything for him. Savannah's evolving relationship with boundaries has also given her a fresh perspective on love. In her romantic life, she has made a conscious effort to break old patterns of codependency. I've learned that a relationship should enhance your life, not define it. I want a partner, not a project. Someone who supports me but doesn't complete me, because I'm already whole. One of the most powerful realizations for Savannah was understanding that boundaries aren't just about keeping people out, but about letting the right people in. When you have clear boundaries, it's easier to recognize who respects them and who doesn't. It helps you build stronger, healthier connections with the people who genuinely care about you. Today, Savannah feels more empowered than ever. She's embracing her independence and discovering who she is outside of the expectations of others. It's not always easy, and I'm still a work in progress, but I'm proud of how far I've come. For the first time, I feel like I'm living for me, and that's a beautiful thing. As she continues to navigate life in the public eye, Savannah's journey serves as a reminder that self-love and boundaries are crucial elements of a healthy, fulfilling life. By sharing her story, she hopes to inspire others to prioritize their own well-being, to embrace the power of no, and to realize that true happiness comes from within. In the end, Savannah Chrisley's story is one of growth, resilience, and the courage to rewrite her narrative. She's no longer the girl who felt the need to sacrifice her own needs for the sake of others. Instead, she's a woman who understands that setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about creating the space she needs to thrive, and in doing so, she's discovering a deeper, more authentic version of herself than she ever thought possible. Savannah Chrisley, the poised and charismatic daughter of Todd and Julie Chrisley, recently opened up about her personal struggles with codependency and boundaries, a topic she had previously kept under wraps. Though she's often seen as the epitome of grace under pressure, navigating the public eye with confidence, Savannah's revelations offered a rare glimpse into the vulnerability that lies beneath her polished exterior. It all started in the whirlwind of reality TV, where her life was laid bare for the world to see. From her teenage years to her 20s, Savannah grew up in front of the cameras, her every decision, relationship, and personal milestone documented. While she was admired for her beauty, success, and seemingly perfect life, Savannah began to realize that much of what people saw was a curated image, one that masked her deeper emotional struggles.